I'm standing in a massive bank of rosebay willowherb, a beautiful purple flowered species that loves to be in open spaces where there's not any trees, and it colonises roadside verges, railway track sides, even grows up in chimneys, anywhere it can find basically. This is a ubiquitous species, something that all of you are bound to have seen at some point in your travels. The fascinating thing though is that until relatively recently this was considered an extremely rare species. In the 18th century it was regarded as something that was only really found in gardens and something that you might very rarely find in the wild. Throughout most of the 1800s as well, this is a view that was widely held and something that was documented in a number of books at the time. It wasn't really until the 1860s and 70s that people started noticing quite broad bands and swathes of this actually spreading out across the countryside. And really it wasn't until the First World War when we really started to see this species taking over. Now, there's been lots of theories to try and explain why it is that this species has had this dramatic takeoff. And probably the most plausible is the expansion of the railway network, providing swathes of habitat appropriate for this species, along which it could move and colonise new sites. Now, one of the things that you may be even more familiar with than the purple flowers is the seeds that it distributes. And these give it one of its common names, which is Old Man's Beard. And the reason is they just look like big, fluffy, Fabricus kind of beards when it is covered in these white, fluffy seeds. And they then travel in the wind, and you'll see from a bank like this, absolutely hundreds and hundreds of them coming off. An individual plant like this will produce around 8,000 seeds. So you can imagine how many thousands of seeds will be drifting in the wind from this particular bank in a few months' time. I myself, in the playgrounds in primary school, used to run around chasing these things. I don't know if you did that yourself. Certainly the belief amongst me and my classmates was that if you managed to catch one of these seed heads, then you could make a wish and it would come true. Now, to identify this species, there are a few things that you need to look for. First of all, let's have a look at the leaves. And you can see that these are hairless leaves. They've got relatively smooth margins with tiny little kind of dots that kind of look like spikes, but they're not really spikes on the ends, on the margins of the leaf. The leaves are lanceolate in shape, and you can see that they're alternately arranged along the stem, and in addition to being alternate, they are also spirally arranged around the stem. The flowers, as you can see, are arranged in long, showy, lovely purple terminal racemes. The flowers themselves, apparently up to 2 to 3 centimetres. These ones here are more like 1 centimetre across, and you can see here the arrangement of the petals. Now, according to Richard Maybe, the young shoots of this plant can be eaten like asparagus, and this is something that's been done for many centuries in North America and parts of Northern Europe. I've never tried it myself, but here goes. This looks like a young shoot. You can see some flowers just becoming, beginning on the top there. Well, tastes kind of planty. Ooh, with a slightly salty, bitter aftertaste. Asparagus is much better. Now I have to warn you that there is another species that looks very similar to rosebay willowherb, hairy willowherb, which is considered to be poisonous. So don't try this one at home. Now, one final thing to say about this is its medicinal properties. Culpeper, writing in the 16th century, says that this species is particularly useful for stopping diarrhea or internal bleeding. Well, maybe I'm going to be constipated tomorrow. Certainly still got a very bitter taste in my mouth.